Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Berger. I'm one of the peds hospitalists. I want to welcome you to 4 North. One of the things that we really find important is our nursing participation, especially during our bedside rounds. What we try to do is meet with each family, with their residents, and have them sort of present or give a short synopsis to the parents and include them in the decision making, address any questions they have at the time. We'd like to have the nursing present as well, because at that place that is a great time for you to put your input in and tell us what you see, and what you see is really important as well. And we can address any questions you have with the plan. The goal is to have everybody, parents, residents, staff, and the nurse all in on the same plan so that there's no confusion throughout the rest of the day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a nurse on 4 North, and I'm going to explain our board to you. This first person, Tanya Tonsil, is a gold surgery person. You know that they're surgery because they are written in red. They have had leadership rounding on them as evidenced by this little sticker. They're a command interest patient, and they are falls risk according to this star. They were admitted on the 25th of June, and Susan is their nurse, and their acuity point is 2 for Wims and I. Mickey M, we know that this is a contact patient by this little symbol. It's a 10-day-old peds patient that was admitted on the 24th of June, and that Chelsea is their nurse, and their Wims and I level is 5. Felix F is a 4-year-old who is being covered by family medicine, and we know this because they are written in blue and family medicine's color is blue. If we were to have an infusion patient, they would be in green, and this just symbolizes that the room is dirty and needs to be cleaned before we can put another patient in there. This tells us our census, so we have, this is wrong, we have 3 patients according to the board, so that would need to be updated.
I think he's supposed to be an admit, but we didn't remember the brackets. So when they're not coming yet.
So brackets if they're not there yet, but we're planning on them coming. This is the number that you would call for a rapid response or a Charlie Alpha. And this is where you can see what infusion patients we have. We've covered it because we don't want you to know. But normally it would have last name, date, and time that they're coming in, and usually the medication as well. This is all of our pagers to get a hold of doctors on call and the nursing supervisor. This is the attending that is currently on call, and this is the rest of the physicians' numbers that are available.
Behind you is the...
Behind me are the clipboards that talk about education and services, mandatory weekly reviews, and administration overviews. That should be checked weekly by every nurse. Bye!
Okay, this is our call light system, and then over here we have our hug system as well. So any patient under 5 should have our hug system on. That basically allows us to keep track of them and know if they were to leave our unit at any time. The families can refuse the hug system. They just have to sign a waiver or have a waiver in their chart. The call system, obviously you pick it up and you push the button and you can figure out what the patient's need is. Over here is where our secretary sits. They're basically the person that runs our entire unit, so they're the first person that we see, so probably one of the most important people that we have for this floor. And they have all the ins and outs of how things run smoothly here on 4 North. Here is the visitor log. So if patients are visiting and if they have friends visiting, they need to sign in and sign out. We have the computer or the cameras up there that we can see who's walking in and out at all times. And down here we have our buttons for letting people in and out, and our security button over here. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
Over here is our surveys. So this is the how we're doing. We want people to fill out the surveys for how we're doing here on 4 North. There's a lot of information over here. So this is some teaching sheets for our families. There's also a file cabinet in the back with teaching sheets. And then our online resources are great places for finding reputable information that Madigan has encouraged us to use. So the nursing skills is the #1 place that we get our stuff. Here is our patient labels, so it's by room number. And then we can pull them up. There's also charts behind you over here. You don't have to turn around, but the labels will be here. But if the patient goes down for a procedure, you want to grab some labels and stick them in the chart, and the chart should go with the patient with a S-bar sheet anywhere. And that basically tells people a little bit about our patient while they're not with us up on 4 North. These books up here, so we've got our housekeeping log for cleaning rooms. We've got our staff roster book. This is going to help us call and paging doctors. Basically, when you look for a provider, these are by alphabet in the back, but towards the front, you're going to pick a service. Of course, they don't have it in here right now. Let's see if I can find one for you just to give you an example. Okay, here, this is a common one that we use. So general surgery. So you want to make sure you look to the actual date range that we're in. So we'd be in the 4-7 to 5-4 range. And then you're going to look at the lowest level person to call first. And then on your orders, it should say green team or red team surgery. And same with like ortho here. You'd go down by the day of the week to know who's on call for that day. And after about 5 o'clock, we usually would page our SOD or our ASOD first, and that number is over here back on this call board. So we've got the ASOD and the SOD. Okay, right this way, we're going to look at our infusion book. If you have new infusions coming in, this is the infusion book. When you take report on a patient, you would get your sheet up here. This is your handoff report. So this is where it'll give you a cheat sheet about what kind of things to write down and to ask. Patient bands are here. All these right here are the stickers for the charts. So they kind of color coordinate with the color that should be on the board for them. And labels for breast milk or anything that wants to be labeled in the fridge would be found here. We don't usually give them the stickers for labeling things in the fridge because it does have their DOD or their social security number on it. Let's see, is there anything else here? This is the bin for if we have good reports about nurses. So this is the Daisy Award. If you get an award, the parents can put it in there for the staff. And then over here is our glucometer. So that's here with all the glucometer stuff. Just have to scan a barcode on the back of somebody's ID. Report sheets for the morning are usually going to be here, and then there's different types of brain sheets that you can use here for helping you plan your day. If you want to come around here to the cardiac monitors, these are the cardiac monitors. There's a silent button here. We don't want to just silence anything that alarms. We want to address what's on the monitor first. If you need to go to the room, go to the room right away, and just making sure that the patient is okay. There are different ways to set the parameters on here so that it matches the patient's age appropriately. Anytime someone unplugs their pulse ox or their cardiac leads, the monitor will default to the original setting, so you have to reset them all over again. Over here are the markers. So this is where you get the markers for your emergency drug sheets for which color they are for the Brausel scale. There's a few other things here. This is our emergency drug book, or not our emergency drug books, our regular drug books. So we do check all of our meds here on 4 North with IV meds with a second RN or LPN, and then you just want to annotate who you checked it with. We are checking the dose and the time, and we're basing that off of their weight. So we do weight-based dosing here. This is for sending blood culture bottles. There's also some of the tube station stuff that we have with foam in them. This is how we send stuff to other parts of the hospital. The clinic doesn't have this, they have a train, so this is called the PTS, the tube station. We're 53, and our train is 55. If the train is here, it's going to be dinging, and we press this wonderful silver button to make the dinging stop. Or actually, the linen would not turn off, but the train, when it's here, we can do that. Okay? If you want to come in here, this is our bedroom. The med fridge is here. So this is by alphabet for our patients that have refrigerated meds. If a med comes out of the tube station, we want to make sure that it gets put away right away. Our secretaries are really good at helping us do that. But they should be put in the appropriate bins depending on if it's refrigerated or not. If it's not refrigerated, then it's going to go in their bin in this part of the Omnicell by their room number. And then the rest of it would be locked in the regular Omnicell for medications. We've got flushes. We've got the little alcohol caps that we're putting on our lines right now. We've got labels for labeling your medications and your syringes. This is the bin for discharges. So after your patient is discharged, we want you to take all the stuff out of the bin, and you can put it in the discharge bin or send it back to pharmacy. Over here, it's kind of turned a funny direction right now because eventually we'll get a cork board, but then maybe this will be turned back to face out. Let's see if we can kind of look here. We've got some extra IV tubing. We've got syringe pump tubing, syringes, and then extra like needles and tubes for drawing blood. And then behind you, sorry, this is where we can hang medications that don't need to be refrigerated. So we usually just hang them. We try to put the latest date last, and then the one that we want to use currently first. We've got our sink here, we've got our sharps container and our med bin for throwing away meds that we don't finish using that are IV. And then behind you on the wall you can peek, and there's the thermometers. So we've got the rectal thermometer and regular thermometers. The rectal thermometer, we really don't use that unless we have an actual order for it. But we do use the regular thermometers. Each room has one, hopefully still, and if it doesn't, you can grab one from here. This chart helps you figure out what kind of medications or what kind of tubes to put your labs in. We can also call the lab or use the lab book or the online resource. And then over here is like the scanner, so it should come back to here when we're not using it. And then down here is our syringe pumps. Right now they are currently holding all of the antibiotic information for giving medications, but there is a possibility that these will go away and just be used for feeding. So right now that's kind of the plan for those, but they do have a really good database for our medications and how long to give them. Had a good time learning about 4 North, and you got all your questions answered. Please feel free to ask anybody if you have any questions about where things are or how we do things. Everything changes on a regular basis here, so there's always new things to learn and new ways of doing things. Thanks, and have a great day. Please watch our other videos so that you can learn about our Omnicell room and some of the other things that we do here on 4 North.